listening, and these are my 5 fans' favourites for Dundalk FC. My first game that I can recall is in the 89-90 season, I think. It was home to Cork. I'm not exactly sure, to be honest with you, so I would have been around 9 years of age. My dad, Tom, would be well known to many people up there, has been going up since the mid-60s. Like myself, he's not a Dundalk man born, but he was working up there for a spell and got the bug, and then that passed on to me, and we've been going up together since around 89. I think that game was at home to Cork. It was obviously a home game. I think it was Cork. It might have been a 0-0, although Dad somehow thinks we could have lost 3-0, but I'm pretty sure it was 0-0, and it was a pretty horrendous game. But football was very different then. 3 o'clock afternoon kickoffs, and even when the lights were on, it was kind of getting dark. But great times to be part of, and something special had started then. I'd have to have a joint effort on this one. 2 players from very early on, since I've been going up, really captured my attention. They would be Alan O'Neill and Martin Lawler. Alan is someone who lived very near us in Dublin. Real hero of mine. I used to love jumping in goal as a kid. Rarely saw him have a bad game or make a mistake. Top class keeper, top class fella as well. I remember when he left, unfortunately, to go to Rovers, popping up to the house to drop up some old tracksuits and stuff like that. And this is at a time when replica gear wouldn't have been too common to have. Just a really good fella, and an exceptional keeper. Probably one of my favourite photos from all time is the one that's on the wall at Oriel, where he's flying to make a save against Liverpool in the friendly that was packed out. Martin, just a proper no-nonsense defender, there for donkey's years. I had the old Union Sport jersey. It was my favourite jersey back in the day, way back in the day. Had the number 3 on the back of that. Brilliant player. I remember one time he'd always interact with the fans, whether it be home or away fans, good and bad. I remember one time even giving Jonathan Speake a piggyback in those great games against Derry, when they used to bring huge travelling numbers. Just 2 superb players, so it'd be Alan O'Neill and Martin Lawler for me. Obviously, most people would probably pluck for some of the European and the more recent success, but for me, and I'm wearing the jersey to mark the occasion, was the 2008 final game away to Kildare County. Crazy night, winning 6-1, placed totally flat after it, thinking it was all done and dusted because Shels had done what they need to do in Tolka. I'd actually recently just moved out to Kilcock, which obviously isn't too far from Newbridge, and myself and my dad left just barely on the final whistle, thinking it was all done and dusted, to kind of get a beat in the traffic and just head home, drown our sorrows, have a couple of pints. And as we hit the motorway, I got a phone call from my wife, who has a little or no interest in football, telling me that Limerick had scored via teletext. This would have been back in the day, or Airtel. And I remember thinking it was just a really bad joke. Didn't appreciate it at the time, said a few nasty words, and turned out she was eventually calmed me down. It was true, and it just went from sheer devastation to complete and utter elation in seconds. And not just obviously the fact that it was such a special night, but I think just what came afterwards. Nothing would have been possible with the recent success without John Gill and his team getting us up, I think, in that year. And it was just a fantastic night to live long in the memory. I'm a big fan of the one I'm wearing, as I say. Away kits generally stick with me, especially when they're black. I think that's something really special about that. But it has to be the black and gold GNR kit from the 2016 run. Just a amazing jersey, gold collar, the gold pinstripes, and whether it was black or gold shorts, the whole thing just looked so cool, so smart. Really brilliant jersey. CX, in fairness, both kits that year were excellent, but the black and gold for me, and just the amount of memories we have associated with that kit, that'd be the one for me. But it would have to be the first one under Stephen Kenny, 2015, when Richie got the goal. Just because I'd seen a good few friends who were supporters of various clubs, some lads I went with, some mates who were Shels fans back in the day. But for us to get to the Aviva, especially the heartbreak the previous year of being knocked out by Drogheda in such awful circumstances, I know it was not a great game, it was a long night, it was cold, but just when Richie's goal went in, it was just amazing. And to have done the double, and we'd come so far in such a short space of time, so it would be the 2015 Cup final for me. Cult hero for me would be Tom McNulty, I think. Big fan's favourite, I know. controversial character in many ways, but Tom is just, it's always a good sign, much like Stephen O'Donnell, when the opposition hates you, yet they'd sign you in a heartbeat. And I think that says it all about Tom. Remember hearing various stories through some connections back in the day, that every year, whether it be Shells or Jerry, we're always trying, especially Jerry, I think we're always sniffing after Tom. He got some huge goals obviously as well, so it wasn't just the fact that he could wind people up and he could get stuck in. He was a top player as well. Fairly recent, 2017 against Rovers, the Stephen O'Donnell magical diving header. Don't think that goal gets anywhere near the credit it deserves. I remember looking at Sean Hoare, just for some reason looking over that direction, he was taking the free kick, and it was just off the cuff. He pinged the free when he could easily have just gone to hold it in the corner at that stage of the game. It was a beautiful free kick, incredible header, the power he generated, the execution doesn't get any kind of recognition when it's commentated. In fact, the commentator that night barely even thought, oh, it's in, that's the end of that. It was a fantastic goal. But just that night, in fairness, Rovers were wound up to a T. It's always special when it's against them. And we weren't at our absolute best that season, but that was an unbelievable night to come away from there with a win, and so late in the day and extra time and everything. It was just such a great night. I've gone for a 4-5-1 or 4-3-3, whichever way you want to look at it. In goal, I'll go with Alan O'Neill. I've already spoken with Alan, unbelievable keeper. Right back, I'd go with John Flanagan. I think John just deserves a mention for everything he did for the club. He was brilliant in those years under John Gill, and even under Trevor Anderson he was still one of the better players, whether it be a midfield or right back or even the odd time in centre half. John was a top player, unbelievable leap on him for not such a big fella, and a real goal threat. And just so I have to put John in there. Two centre halves, what it says, James Call and Mick Doohan. These are obviously ex-players, I should add, that are no longer with the club as part of this team. So Mick and James, just two no-nonsense centre halves, get the job done. And again, a bit of a goal threat too. And I think most people from that era will remember James now and again, his love for an overhead kick clearance, incredible stuff, and the man would just head a brick wall. I'll obviously go with Martin at left back, Martin Lawler. Already spoke about Martin, just what a servant, what a player, not much more to say. Right wing, or whatever side he decides to go on, would be Daryl Horgan. Incredible player, one of the best we've ever had. We were blessed to see him. Could turn a game on its head. Someone that is in that European run, he was just an unbelievable player all the way through. It doesn't matter who the opposition was against. And then I remember that night in Cork, obviously, against Cork, where he got the 2 goals. Just a ridiculous player. Didn't quite work out from a press, and he's doing well at Hibs, but I still think he's capable of more, and hopefully with the King going in now, he'll get a chance again at international level, because Daryl is a top-notch player. On the other side, I'll go with Brian Byrne. Everyone remembers the goal against Pats where he ran the length of the field. Just Brian was such a good player, and in an era where wingers would get chopped down on bad and bumpy pitches, if you even remember that, you see the footage that ended up in Crescent Sport, the ball was bobbling all over the place, and he managed to keep control of it, but defender and keeper chase, and Brian was real class acting. He could walk into our 2016 or present team. He was that good. Centre mid is where it gets a bit interesting. There's lots of players you could put in, but I'm going to go with the 3 of Tom McNulty, Stephen O'Donnell and Richie Towell. I've already spoken with Tom, what a good player he was. Richie, bags of goals, bags of ability, could do special things, great player for us. And then Stephen O'Donnell would probably be up there as one of my favourite of all time. Just what I saw this on someone else's as well, just a type of guy who could ref a game, and you need that in your team. As I said, if he was in the opposition, you'd absolutely hate him. That says it all. He's a brilliant player, and the fact he got voted so highly on the recent top 50 list for Dan McDonnell says it all. And bearing in mind how many injuries he had, Stephen was just an unbelievable man to run a game. So it'd have to be Stephen McDonnell. Up front, then I go with David McMillan. Again, I've never seen a guy with a work rate like him. Just everything about Dave was top class, and the goals as well. His goals record was excellent. Unbelievable player. Watched back the League Cup final there recently against Rovers, where we won 3-0. I actually didn't think we were great that day. He was by a mile man of the match. He actually ran Rovers ragged on his own. So I'd definitely go with McMillan up top. What a player.